Okay, so we're going to do a little review for the first unit. Some of the things that you need to know first are GDP, which is gross domestic product. This is the total value of all goods and services produced within a country in a year. So gross is the total, domestic within the country, and the product, everything that is produced, goods and services that we can put a value on. So gross domestic product, basically you take all the products made, all the things that are built, cars, computers or whatever, but also services as well. So if you go to a hotel, the person at the front desk is producing a service. At the end of the service, there's no object to hold on to, but it still counts in gross domestic product. But what does not count in gross domestic product? Things that we can't put a monetary value on. So for example, a cook at a restaurant, there's a monetary value to what their work is worth because they're getting paid. But if a parent cooks dinner for a family at home, that doesn't have a monetary value because we don't really tell our moms or whatever that our dinner was worth $8 or something like that. So that doesn't get a monetary value. Things that are in the underground or black market economy, illegal drug sales, things like that are not counted because the government doesn't track those sorts of things. But all the things that are legally produced and that we have a dollar value on, the goods and services, go into gross domestic product. Over time, we want gross domestic product to go up because that means the economy is growing. First of all, generally speaking, most countries are going to have more people in their population over time. So more people should be producing more. But we also want people to become more efficient because of technology, things like that. People get better at their jobs, hopefully over time, but also technology makes them more efficient. So people should be producing more than previous generations. A farmer today is producing a lot more food per farmer than a farmer 100 years ago. So we want GDP to be going up over time. One other term you need to know is scarcity. Scarcity is important in economics because economics is all about how we make choices on the ways we're going to use resources. And the reason we have to make choices is because of scarcity. There is a limited supply of the things we want. We don't have unlimited resources, so we need to make choices because of that scarcity. Another term you need to know is invisible hand. This goes to Adam Smith in his book, The Wealth of Nations. Adam Smith said that people do their jobs mostly out of selfish desires. If you go to a baker, the baker isn't baking those products for you out of just the goodness of their heart because they want to be nice to you. They're baking it because they want to make money. People do their jobs because they want to make money. But Adam Smith said even though the baker is being selfish and all the people in the whole economy are being selfish in the way that they're doing their jobs trying to make money, it actually works out for everybody's good. Because when you go to the baker wants to be the best baker they can be in order to make more money. When you go to a car salesman, the car salesman wants to be the best car salesman he can be. When you go to a doctor, the doctor wants to be the best doctor that she can be because they want to make money. And the result is we get lots of really good products. We get great doctors and great salespeople and great bakers and all that sort of stuff. So everybody working selfishly somehow works out for the good of everybody. And that's the invisible hand. The hand is guiding the economy, but it's invisible. That we don't see all of this working, but somehow it works out for the good of everybody. Okay, this also means that the government doesn't have to plan these things for us. That's that hand. We could see a very visible hand of the government, metaphorically speaking, visible. The government coming in and telling people, well, you have to make this product or whatever. But we don't need that because people being selfish will figure it out. So in a planned economy, the government will come in and tell producers, factories, how much of everything to make. But in a free market economy, we don't need that. Factories will just figure it out. If they make too much of something, they end up having extra and they have to lower the price and it becomes a mess. If they make too little of something, they sell out quickly. And so then they're like, oh, we could have sold more if only we had more. So they'll figure out what is the amount that the market demands and they'll make the right amount. So in planned economies, They will insist that only through central planning can you get the right amount of everything to the people. But Adam Smith and capitalism will say that there's this invisible hand that'll make it all work out in the end. Another important term is opportunity cost. In economics, sometimes we'll say that nothing costs money, which sounds ridiculous to people at first. Everything costs money. But what it really costs is the opportunity to do something else with that money. Money itself is just paper, or more specifically cotton. It's just a little piece of paper or cotton. You don't really care about it. What you care about money for is that money can be used to do other things. So if you have $20, there's lots of stuff you can do with that $20. You don't actually want the $20 bill. Like, that's not an amazing thing. What you want is what you can do with that $20. So maybe you can go out to a decent dinner with some friends, or maybe you can go to a movie and get popcorn. I don't even know if you can get a movie and popcorn with $20, but you have to make a choice. If you choose to go to dinner with your friends, you might be giving up the opportunity to go to the movie. If you go to the movie, you might be giving up the opportunity to go to dinner with friends. The key here is that the cost is the next best alternative. Okay, so if I have $10 and I can get myself a good hamburger at Five Guys, or I can buy myself a soccer ball, well, that's not really my opportunity cost, because I wasn't going to buy a soccer ball to begin with. So if I spend $10 on the burger at Five Guys, the opportunity cost isn't everything possible that I could have done with that $10, like buy a soccer ball. It's what I would have actually done had I not gone to Five Guys. What is the next best alternative? That's the thing I'm actually giving up. I don't feel like I gave up a soccer ball because I didn't want a soccer ball to begin with. But there might be something else, something that I did give up. So that is opportunity cost. It is important, again, because of scarcity. We have limited resources. In economics, it's all about choices. So we're making choices. And this is important just in life to understand opportunity cost, because every time you choose to do something, you are making a choice to give up something else. And it doesn't have to be just buying something. If you choose to spend your time at home doing homework, then you are giving up something else you could have been doing, like taking a nap or socializing with friends. There's a cost to doing homework. Of course, if you choose to not do your homework and instead hang out with your friends, then the cost might be not doing your homework and failing, or something like that. So opportunity cost is in everything we do. Economics is not just about money. It is about choices we make with the resources we have. So time is a resource. So opportunity cost relates to all of that as well. Now, I'm going to erase this real quick. Okay, so right now I'm going to go over the PPF, or Production Possibilities Frontier graph. It's a simple little graph. Okay, you have your X and your Y axes here, of course. These represent products. So, for example, let's suppose I have a factory that makes leather goods. I can make shoes, or maybe I can make gloves with my machines. And this represents the number all the way up to, infinity, which of course is never going to happen, that I can make. And this represents the number of shoes I can make. Well, my factory can only make a certain amount of materials per day or per year. We can't make infinite. So let's say if I had all my workers working and all my machines running all day long, let's say they could make, 50 gloves per day. Okay, that would be one option. But if instead of making gloves, let's say I had them making shoes, and maybe they could make 20 pairs of shoes per day. Okay, they could make 50 gloves or 20 pairs of shoes, but they could also do something in the middle. So maybe instead, if I did 25 pairs of gloves, they could do 10 shoes, and then it'd be up here, like that. So production possibility frontier shows all the possibilities for what I can do with my machinery and my workers. Again, can't do infinite, you've got to make choices. So I can do anything on this line. Now, if I give my workers long breaks and everything, I'm a really nice guy, so I give them good long breaks, they're not going to be as productive, and the number is going to drop down maybe in here. So anything inside here below the line is considered inefficient. I'm wasting resources. The line is peak efficiency, and anything above the line is impossible. Like, I can't have them making more than 50 gloves and more than 20 shoes at the same time, unless I hire more workers or buy more equipment or something like that. But this is the production possibility frontier. Now, this isn't just for factories. We could do this on the entire national basis. We could say a country can produce a certain amount of goods and services based on, again, the number of workers, the amount of materials, natural resources, all those sort of things. But even at an individual level, when you are in groups doing group projects, we all know that when you have group projects, sometimes groups aren't very efficient on their time. But when you have class time to work as your group, you can spend that class time, say, working hard and studying and preparing, or you can spend that time socializing and goofing off. And you can maximize goofing off, but if you maximize goofing off, then your production of work is going to be at 0. If you maximize work, then your production of goofing off is going to be at 0. Or you can be somewhere in the middle where you spend some time goofing off and some of the time working. Okay, so that is production possibility frontier. It is something that we use every day in regular life as well, even if you're not conscious of it. If you're not conscious of it, you're probably just going to end up on the goofing off and 0 productivity, and then you end up getting fired from your group, or your group just ends up failing. Okay. What are the 3 fundamental questions that every economic system has to answer? The 3 fundamental questions are: what is going to be made, who is going to make it, and how are we going to get it, and to who is it going to go to? So how do we get it to the people that it's going to is the 3rd question. So who's going to make it, how is it going to be made, and how does it get to who it's going to at the end? Every economic system is about that. I mentioned earlier with planned economies, they'll decide from a government standpoint what's going to be made, how much is going to be made, and stuff like that. Free market system, the invisible hand decides, but they're still having to make those decisions. So that is a quick review of Unit 1.